Have you ever walked into a room and felt an immediate shift in your energy without knowing exactly why? Sometimes, the feeling is one of calm and comfort. Other times, there's an inexplicable unease, as if the air were heavy. This perception goes beyond what we can see, and many scholars of the occult believe that all objects around us carry an energetic signature, influencing our mood and even our health. If every object holds a piece of the energy of those who touched it, what does that mean for the things we inherit or buy from others? Could these items, now part of your home, be bringing with them hidden vibrations that might be negatively affecting your life? Mirrors are more than just reflective surfaces. Since time immemorial, they have been considered mystical objects, laden with symbolism and occult significance. In antiquity, it was believed that a mirror not only reflected the physical image, but also captured the soul of the one who gazed into it. Ancient cultures, such as the Egyptian and Greek, used mirrors in rituals to communicate with the dead, believing they served as portals to the spiritual world. Old mirrors, especially those inherited or purchased from antique shops, carry the energy of all who have used them. When you look into a mirror that has passed through many hands, you are connecting with fragments of memories and emotions left behind. If the mirror witnessed moments of sorrow or suffering, it might be imbued with these dense vibrations. Have you ever noticed a strange feeling when passing by an old mirror? Perhaps it's not just an impression, but an energetic reverberation of its past. In magic and the occult, mirrors are often used in divination practices, such as scrying, where the practitioner observes the reflection on the surface to access messages from the astral plane. This suggests that mirrors, especially ancient ones, act as bridges between the physical and spiritual worlds. If an inherited mirror was used for occult practices or dark rituals, it might carry a particularly intense and unsettling energy, affecting the energetic field of its current owner. There are also popular beliefs that covering mirrors during periods of mourning prevents the soul of the deceased from becoming trapped in the reflection. In many spiritual traditions, the mirror is seen as an entry point for entities and spirits, and leaving it uncovered after a death may attract unwanted presences. Could this old habit have an energetic basis that we do not fully understand? Reports of disturbing experiences with old mirrors are common. People claim to see shadows or figures in the background, reflections that shouldn't be there. The esoteric explanation for this is that the mirror functions as a sort of energetic sponge, absorbing emotions and events from its surroundings. If a mirror was in a room where frequent arguments or moments of deep sadness occurred, it might carry these negative vibrations, projecting them back into the environment. In addition to being portals, mirrors are considered objects that trap energy. When a mirror breaks, it is often said to bring 7 years of bad luck. This belief has roots in ancient occult traditions, where the breaking of a mirror symbolizes the rupture of the connection between the physical and spiritual planes. In occultism, breaking a mirror can release accumulated energy in an uncontrolled way, causing disturbances in the environment. The placement of mirrors in the home is also something that warrants attention. Feng Shui, a practice of energetic harmonization, advises against placing mirrors in front of beds or doors, as this can reflect and amplify unwanted energies. If you have an old mirror positioned improperly, you might be opening an energetic window for influxes of vibrations that do not belong in your home. Cleansing rituals are recommended for mirrors that bring about negative sensations. You can smudge the mirror with burning sage, use salt water for purification, or expose it to sunlight to dissipate accumulated energies. Have you ever tried something like this? Perhaps it's time to give it a go if you feel persistent discomfort towards a specific mirror. Old mirrors are not just decorative objects. They are receptacles of memories, emotions, and possibly energies that transcend time and space. The next time you look into an inherited mirror, ask yourself, what else is being reflected beyond my image? Am I only seeing myself, or is there something hidden behind this reflection? Antique dolls, especially porcelain ones, are often seen as more than just simple toys. Their almost human expressions, fixed eyes, and time-worn appearance create an unsettling aura. From an occult perspective, these objects are considered potential receptacles for energies and even for disembodied spirits. Have you ever had the feeling of being watched by an old doll? Perhaps that sensation is not merely a product of your imagination, but a reflection of something deeper and unseen. In various occult traditions, dolls are used in magical rituals, serving as stand-ins for specific individuals. This practice, known as poppet magic, involves creating dolls that represent someone so the practitioner can directly influence the life of the target person. Antique dolls that once belonged to others may have been used in such rituals, carrying with them an intense energetic charge. Is the inherited doll you own just a toy, or could it be something more? Porcelain dolls were luxury items and often became cherished gifts for children from wealthy families. However, these toys witnessed not only moments of joy but also periods of sadness and loss. Imagine a doll held by a sick child or kept as a memento of a deceased daughter. These experiences could leave a profound energetic mark on the doll, transforming it into a kind of talisman laden with painful memories. There are many stories of dolls that seem to move on their own or are found in different places from where they were left. In occultism, this can be interpreted as a phenomenon of residual energy, where the essence of the person who owned the doll remains attached to it. Have you ever heard of haunted dolls? Perhaps these accounts have more truth to them than we realize. Another common practice involving dolls is using them as vessels for spirits. In some cultures, it is believed that the spirits of deceased children may attach themselves to dolls, using them as a sort of substitute body. This is particularly true in invocation and necromancy rituals, where the doll serves as a medium to attract and hold the soul of a lost spirit. When you possess an inherited or second-hand doll, you may be dealing with much more than just an old toy. The presence of dolls in rituals is also common in Vodou, where they are used to create spiritual links between the doll and a person. Although often caricatured in popular culture, Vodou views these dolls as powerful tools capable of healing, protecting, or even cursing. Antique dolls, especially those found at flea markets or thrift stores, may have been used in such practices, carrying an occult charge that affects the environment where they are placed. Even outside the ritualistic context, it is common for old dolls to create discomfort for those who own them. Psychologically, this is explained by the uncanny valley effect, where something resembling a human but not quite real provokes a sense of unease. However, the spiritual explanation suggests that this sensation is an intuitive response to the accumulated energy in the object. Have you ever felt chills when looking at a porcelain doll? Perhaps your intuition is sensing something your eyes cannot see. For those who believe in esoteric practices, there are methods to cleanse the energy of an old doll. This might involve a purification ritual with incense, applying consecrated oil, or even herbal baths. These practices are intended to dissipate any dense energy or spirit that might be attached to the object. Have you ever considered performing a cleansing on an inherited doll? It could be a way to ensure you are not bringing an unwanted presence into your home. The next time you come across a doll with an old and worn appearance, stop and reflect. Is this just an innocent toy? Or are you holding an object charged with stories, memories, and hidden energies? Perhaps the answer lies in the doll's cold, fixed eyes, which seem to observe more than just their surroundings. Antique jewelry and family heirlooms are pieces that transcend their material value, acting as true energetic amulets. When worn in direct contact with the skin, these pieces create a deep connection with a person's auric field, absorbing vibrations, memories, and fragments of emotions. When you inherit a piece of jewelry, you're not just receiving a beautiful adornment, but also the accumulated energies of its previous owners. Have you ever felt an inexplicable emotion when putting on a family ring or necklace? Perhaps that feeling is tied to the essence of those who wore the item before you. In occultism, jewelry is often used as talismans or amulets, serving to protect or channel specific energies. In magical rituals, metals like gold and silver are chosen for their properties as conductors of spiritual energy. When a piece of jewelry is used in esoteric practices, it becomes a focal point of power, absorbing the intentions and vibrations of the practitioner. An inherited piece consecrated in rituals might carry remnants of ancient enchantments. Do you know the true history behind the jewelry you own? Family heirlooms, such as wedding rings, are passed down from generation to generation, carrying not only memories but also the emotions of the relationships they represented. A wedding ring that was part of an unhappy marriage or witnessed a divorce may have absorbed those energies of sadness and disillusionment. By inheriting such a piece, you may be unconsciously connecting with this emotional burden, which could influence your mood and even your own relationships. Have you ever felt a sense of heaviness when wearing an old piece of jewelry? Perhaps it is charged with memories you're unaware of. Jewelry can also act as spiritual time capsules, preserving the energy of its former owner. In necromancy, for example, rings and necklaces are used to establish a connection with spirits, as these objects are believed to maintain a link between the physical and spiritual planes. If an inherited piece was worn at a funeral or during intense periods of mourning, it might have absorbed the pain and sorrow of the occasion. Have you ever had strange dreams after wearing an inherited piece of jewelry? It might not be a coincidence, but rather a reflection of the energies embedded in the item. In many cultures, it is believed that jewelry should be cleansed before being worn by a new owner. Esoteric practices recommend saltwater baths, smudging with sacred herbs like sage and rue, and exposure to the light of the full moon to clear accumulated energy. These techniques help remove any negative vibrations and allow the piece to start a new story. Have you ever tried a purification ritual for an inherited piece of jewelry? It might be a good idea, especially if you've noticed changes in your mood or luck since you started wearing it. The emotional attachment to family jewelry can create a deep spiritual bond. When you wear a necklace that belonged to a beloved grandmother, you're not just adorning yourself, but also energetically connecting with her memories and feelings. This connection can be comforting but may also bring up dense emotions, like sadness and grief, which can affect your personal energy. Have you ever felt a familiar presence when wearing an inherited piece of jewelry? It might be the energy of the previous owner manifesting through the object. Stories of family curses linked to jewelry are more common than one might think. A ring passed down through generations that brings misfortune to its wearer might have been cursed in some dark ritual, intended to perpetuate suffering within the family lineage. These objects carry such intense energy that their effects can be felt even by those who don't believe in the occult. Have you heard of cursed jewelry in your family? Perhaps it's time to investigate the origins of the pieces you own. Jewelry is also used as a tool for divination. In esoteric astrology, metals and gemstones are chosen based on the planetary influences that govern their properties. Gold, associated with the sun, symbolizes power and vital energy. Silver, linked to the moon, is considered protective and intuitive. However, when these pieces are used in dark rituals, their energy can be inverted, causing blockages and adverse effects. Have you experienced negative sensations when wearing a specific piece of jewelry? Perhaps its power is misaligned with your own vibrations. When you decide to wear an inherited piece of jewelry or buy a vintage item, it's essential to feel its energy. If you sense an inexplicable discomfort, it may be a sign that the object is carrying remnants of past memories and intentions. Cleansing and consecrating these pieces can transform their energies, allowing you to wear them without carrying the spiritual baggage of their former owners. Old jewelry is more than just adornment. It's a fragment of time and energy, carrying hidden stories and memories that transcend generations. Ask yourself, am I merely wearing a beautiful accessory, or am I connecting with something much deeper and unseen? The answer might change the way you view and feel about your jewelry. Clothing is like an extension of our bodies, absorbing and retaining the energies and vibrations of the wearer. In direct contact with the skin, clothes pick up not only scents and physical marks, but also fragments of our aura, emotions, and experiences. When you inherit or buy secondhand clothing, you're acquiring far more than just fabric. You are bringing into your life a piece of the previous owner's memories and experiences. Have you ever wondered why some clothes make you feel good, while others seem to weigh on your shoulders, even if they are comfortable? In occultism, clothing is viewed as a true conductor of energy. In esoteric practices, used clothing is intentionally selected for certain rituals because it carries the essence and energy of the original wearer. If a piece was worn during a period of illness or deep sadness, these vibrations may remain embedded in the fabric, affecting the energetic field of the new wearer. Have you ever felt a shift in your mood or energy when putting on an inherited garment? Perhaps it's not just an impression, but the influence of retained energies in the piece. There are stories of people who, after wearing secondhand clothing, experienced inexplicable negative events, such as sudden fatigue, insomnia, or even accidents. From an esoteric viewpoint, this happens due to the phenomenon of energetic imprinting, where the fibers of the clothing retain the energetic signature of the previous owner. Imagine a coat that belonged to someone who endured a period of deep grief. By wearing that piece, you might be absorbing part of that sorrow without even knowing it. Has this ever happened to you? Used clothing is often associated with magical practices, especially in binding spells and love rituals. In folk witchcraft, pieces of fabric or entire garments are used to channel a person's energy, creating an invisible link with the ritual practitioner. This means that a vintage item you bought at a thrift store might have been used in an occult ritual, carrying remnants of those intentions. Have you ever considered this before buying second-hand clothing? There is a common belief that clothing inherited from deceased people should not be worn immediately. In spiritual traditions, an energetic cleansing is recommended before wearing these items, as it is believed that the deceased's auric field may remain attached to the fabric, creating a connection with the spirit world. Clothes that witness tragic or sudden deaths carry an even more intense energetic charge, influencing the new wearer. Have you ever worn something that belonged to a deceased person and felt an inexplicable chill or shivers? Perhaps this connection is stronger than you realize. The emotions experienced while wearing clothing leave lasting impressions. Dresses worn at joyous weddings carry vibrant and positive energy, while clothes worn in hospitals or funerals absorb sadness and despair. These energies are subtly transmitted to the new owner but can deeply affect mood and well-being. Have you ever had a favorite piece of clothing that always made you feel good? Perhaps it's due to the positive energy it has accumulated over time. Energetic cleansing rituals are essential for inherited or second-hand clothing. Herbal baths, smudging with sage or rue, and exposure to sunlight and moonlight are common practices to purify the fabric and dissipate unwanted vibrations. These techniques help remove old energies and allow the piece to start a new story when worn. Have you ever tried purifying your thrift store finds before wearing them? It might be the key to avoiding energetic issues. In some esoteric cultures, clothing is sewn with small talismans or charms as a form of protection. If you find something stitched inside an old garment, it could be a sign that the piece was used in magical practices or protection rituals. These items can influence the energetic field of the person wearing the clothing, either positively or negatively. Have you ever found something strange sewn into an inherited garment? There might be more to that clothing than meets the eye. The impact of old clothing on sleep is another intriguing phenomenon. Many people report having nightmares or intense dreams after wearing inherited pajamas or old garments during the night. This may be caused by the residual energy embedded in the fabric, interacting more strongly with the auric field during the vulnerable state of sleep. Have you ever had strange dreams after wearing second-hand clothing? Perhaps the item carries fragments of the memories and emotions of its previous wearer. When you wear something that isn't new, you're connecting with fragments of another person's life and experiences. This simple act of putting on a piece of clothing can have a profound and unseen impact on your own energy. Ask yourself, am I just wearing a piece of fabric, or am I absorbing a part of someone else's life? This reflection might make you reconsider using inherited or thrifted clothing without first cleansing them energetically. Clocks are not merely devices for marking time. In occultism, they are seen as representations of life's flow, the rhythm of cycles, and the constant movement of the universe. When a clock stops, especially one that has been inherited, many believe it signals an interruption in the energetic flow, creating a field of stagnation. But what does it really mean to have a stopped clock in your home? Is it merely a mechanical fault, or is there something deeper behind this silence? Inherited clocks often carry an intense emotional charge, passed down through generations as keepsakes from loved ones. When a clock mysteriously stops, it can be seen as a sign of spiritual presence. Some occultists believe that the moment the clock stops marks the exact time when the spirit of the former owner visits the space, attempting to communicate. Have you noticed that your inherited clock has stopped at a specific, repeated time? Perhaps it's more than just a coincidence. In esoteric practices, stopped clocks are used in rituals of necromancy and communication with the dead. The interruption of physical time is seen as an opening to the spiritual plane, where time does not exist as we know it. If you have a clock that suddenly stopped, it might be a temporary portal allowing the flow of energy from the other side. Have you ever felt a change in the atmosphere around a stopped clock? It could be the manifestation of a spiritual presence trying to come through. Stories of clocks stopping at the exact moment of a person's death are both common and intriguing. For occultists, this can be interpreted as a phenomenon of spiritual echo, where the person's soul leaves an energetic impression on the object. This impression causes the clock to stop, marking the moment when the life cycle was interrupted. Have you heard stories like this before? Perhaps the inherited clock you own is marked by an important event from the past. In folk magic traditions, stopped clocks are used as symbols of protection, halting the flow of time to freeze negative situations and prevent problems from worsening. However, if the inherited clock was used in rituals of black magic or curses, It might carry a dense energy that affects the life of its new owner, creating blockages and stagnation. Have you experienced difficulties progressing in certain areas of your life after bringing an old clock into your home? It could be a sign of a hidden energetic blockage. The placement of a clock in the home is crucial for energetic flow. According to Feng Shui, clocks should not be placed directly in front of doors or windows, as this can create a channel for vital energy to escape, accelerating the life cycle of those living in the home. Inherited clocks, especially those that have stopped, may symbolize an interruption in this flow, causing feelings of fatigue and stagnation. Have you ever felt drained when passing through a room with an old, stopped clock? The positioning might be contributing to this effect. Cleaning and reactivating inherited clocks that have stopped is a common practice in occultism, as it is believed to release stagnant energy and allow the flow of time to resume. Ritualistically, clocks can be exposed to the light of the full moon, smudged with herbs like sage, or placed in contact with purifying crystals to remove any negative charge. Have you tried performing an energetic cleansing on an old clock? It could be the key to unlocking retained energy and restoring harmony in your home. Clocks are also used in divination and esoteric astrology, where time is a crucial factor in accessing hidden knowledge. When a clock stops at a specific time, occultists interpret it as a cosmic sign, a temporal marker that may reveal important information about the present and the future. Have you paid attention to the time when your clock stopped? The message might be waiting to be deciphered. Stories of inherited clocks that begin to work again on their own, without any intervention, are seen as spiritual manifestations, a sign that the former owner is trying to communicate. These phenomena are often reported in homes with intense spiritual activity. The sound of ticking returning can be comforting to some, but for others, it is a disturbing sign that the past has not been entirely laid to rest. The symbolism of a stopped clock goes beyond mechanics. It serves as a constant reminder that time, for some, halted at a specific moment. This can create a cycle of stagnation in the life of the new owner, influencing their perception of progress and growth. Ask yourself, is this clock simply broken, or is it reflecting something deeper and hidden? The silence of the clock might be saying more than we imagine. Antique furniture pieces are steeped in history, transcending their aesthetic value and acting as energetic anchors, absorbing vibrations and memories over time. A hand-carved bed, a rocking chair that witnessed generations, or a chest that held family secrets are objects that absorb the emotions and experiences of their previous owners. When you bring an antique piece into your home, you're not just acquiring an object, but a part of the story of those who used it before. Have you ever felt uneasy or melancholic near an old piece of furniture? Perhaps you're sensing something invisible. Wood, an organic material with conductive properties, is viewed in occultism as a reservoir of energy. Wooden furniture absorbs the vibrations of its surroundings and the people who use it, acting as a spiritual sponge. A bed that was used by someone ill, for instance, might store that energy, affecting the health and well-being of its current user. Have you ever experienced insomnia or nightmares after sleeping in an old bed? Perhaps it's the accumulated energy influencing your own. In esotericism, antique furniture is considered silent witnesses, guardians of fragments of memories that can manifest unexpectedly. Practitioners of psychometry, a paranormal ability to read an object's history by touching it, often report intense sensations when interacting with antique furniture. Touching a family armoire might bring a wave of sadness or joy that isn't yours, but rather remnants of the energy of past owners. Have you ever felt the story of a piece of furniture just by touching it? It could be psychometry at play. Old beds are particularly known for storing a significant energetic charge. In occultism, the bed is seen as a portal to the world of dreams and the subconscious, a place where the soul travels during sleep. If a bed was used by someone who had disturbing dreams, that energy might linger, influencing the dreams of the current user. Have you ever woken up feeling exhausted after sleeping in an inherited bed? Perhaps the dreams you had weren't entirely your own. Rocking chairs carry a special symbolism. Often associated with grandparents and family figures, these chairs convey a sense of comfort and safety. However, when an antique rocking chair begins to move on its own, it can be a sign of spiritual presence. In spiritual traditions, rocking chairs are believed to attract and accommodate spirits, especially those seeking comfort. Have you ever witnessed a rocking chair moving without explanation? It might not have been just a breeze. Purification rituals are recommended for inherited furniture, particularly those from homes where traumatic events occurred. In esoteric practice, smudging with sacred herbs like sage and rue, and exposure to sunlight, are used to dispel dense energy and renew the vibrational field of the object. Have you ever tried cleansing an old piece of furniture? It could be an effective way to release any negative vibrations and harmonize your home's energy. Family chests often hold more than just stored items. In occultism, chests are seen as energy capsules, safeguarding not only physical objects but also memories and intentions. Some occultists use old chests as containers for magical items, amplifying their energy through isolation and preservation. If you own a chest that has remained closed for decades, it might hold more than just old belongings. Have you ever felt a wave of energy upon opening an old chest? It could be a glimpse of what it truly contains. Furniture that emits strange sounds, like creaks or groans, can be interpreted as manifestations of residual energy. This phenomenon occurs when an object, saturated with emotional vibrations, releases this energy in the form of sounds. A frequently creaking table or a cupboard making noises at night might indicate that there's something more going on. Have you heard unexplained noises from old furniture? Perhaps they're trying to communicate something. The arrangement of antique furniture in your home can also affect the energetic flow of the space. According to Feng Shui, beds and chairs should not face windows or mirrors directly, as this can create channels for vital energy to disperse. If you feel tired or sad in a room with antique furniture, it could be due to an interrupted energy flow caused by improper positioning of the objects. Inherited furniture carries with it the essence of its previous owners, often acting as bridges between the past and present. When you decide to integrate these pieces into your home, you are keeping alive the connection with your ancestors and the memories they left behind. However, if these memories are tied to trauma, it's important to perform a cleansing and resignification ritual, allowing the old energies to be released. As you sit in an antique chair or lie down in an inherited bed, ask yourself, am I just using a piece of furniture, or am I connecting with fragments of a forgotten story? Old and secondhand objects hold deep stories, each acting as an energetic vessel that absorbs the vibrations and memories of their former owners. Mirrors, dolls, jewelry, clothing, clocks, and antique furniture have the power to influence the energetic field of both the environment and their new owners in subtle yet powerful ways. By bringing these items into your home, you're not just acquiring a piece of history, but also hidden fragments of emotions, intentions, and accumulated energies over time. If you're interested in exploring more about spirituality, I've specially selected a few videos filled with deep insights and fascinating discoveries that you'll love. Just click on one of them. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel to continue this journey of self-discovery and spiritual learning. Your commitment to knowledge is the first step toward transforming your reality.